Commencing transmission. Engaging scramblers. Proxy chain initialized. And now, live from his hidden base at the Earth's core, the future ruler of Earth, Doomcock.
It's time for a rant, my friends. You'd think, after the stunning failure of the Marvels, a failure that surprised no one who didn't have their heads so firmly lodged up their asses they could do visual prostate exams, you'd think that Feige and Marvel and Bob Iger would be, if not humbled, then leery of failing so spectacularly and so publicly yet again. But that apparently isn't the case. It seems that Iger and Feige and the dullards on the Disney board who enable their failures and then wonder why Disney isn't making money haven't learned a damn thing. Because after the Marvels had the worst opening weekend of any Marvel movie in history, period, full stop, end of line, these morons then announce one of the worst casting decisions in the history of comic book movies, Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards.
You pulling my leg, dude? Seriously, are you screwing with me?
I wish I were, Harvey Cthulhu. I wish I were. But this is, evidently, not a rumor but a fact that has spread across the mainstream media in publication after publication as fans throw up their hands and prepare to throw up their lunches at the idea that yet again, Kevin Feige and Bob Iger are completely ignoring what fans want and are just casting whatever minority meets their quota in order to get a good DEI score with their money masters, Vanguard and BlackRock. In their recent article titled Pedro Pascal Eyed to Play Reed Richards in Marvel Studios' Fantastic Four, they write, quote, "After months of speculation over who might play Reed Richards aka Mr. Fantastic in Marvel Studios' Fantastic Four, the wait may finally be over. While a deal is far from done, sources tell Deadline that three-time Emmy nominee Pedro Pascal is in talks to play the leader of the iconic superhero team. Insiders add that scheduling is still being worked out, but multiple sources close to the negotiations are saying it's headed in the right direction for Pascal to do this and his other future projects," unquote.
So, the miscasting of Pedro Pascal is not yet a done deal according to this article, although it appears likely. So perhaps all hope is not yet lost.
Oh, listen, skull of Little Mary Sunshine. I don't know where these sudden beams of sunny optimism are coming from, but the mere fact that Kevin Feige is even considering Pedro Pascal to play the scientific genius Reed Richards is a huge gob of spit in the eyes of fans and a complete middle finger fuck you to the audience that reveals just how out of touch and arrogant these stupid pieces of shit are, despite failure after failure after failure. Folks, from what I'm hearing, after the legal troubles of Jonathan Majors and a string of box office duds in phases 4 and 5 that have lost Disney billions of dollars at the box office and eroded their fan base till it's threadbare, Marvel is ready to either entirely abandon the whole Kang storyline or revise it to feature Doctor Doom instead and quickly move away from the failed Phase 5 to begin Phase 6. Well, meet the new phase, same as the old phase. At what is supposed to be a new start to the MCU after the spectacular wipeout of the Marvels, these dimmest bulbs in the Marvel marquee have essentially doomed the next phase of the MCU before even one frame has been shot. Because this guy is not Reed Richards. He just fucking well is not. And the idea that they'd cast this guy because Kevin Feige feels the movie is too white when he's clearly not right for the role indicates that these idiots have learned nothing from their past failures, and believe me, the MCU is failing and failing hard. Here's the hard, cold facts of the matter for those of us who still believe that facts and profits matter. The Independent did a great breakdown of the MCU in an article titled, "The Marvels Flopping is Just the Start. Here's what the death of the MCU will look like." They write, quote, "It had been coming. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, the superhero franchise that has dominated the box office for the better part of 15 years, is crashing back down to Earth. It's spent the last few years drifting out of its lucrative orbit, mind you. Ever since 2019's cathartic crossover film Avengers Endgame, the MCU has struggled to curry consistent interest in its ever-ballooning catalog of films and TV series. The latest film, The Marvels, is a sequel to Captain Marvel, which grossed over $1.5 billion globally. This follow-up has opened at just $47 million, the lowest opening weekend for any MCU film, losing even to 2008's execrable Incredible Hulk. The Marvels follows a slew of other recent MCU releases that have underperformed both critically and commercially. This year's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 did fine, raking in around $845 million globally, but the critically reviled Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania took in just $476.1 million. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever made $859.2 million, around $500 million less than the original Black Panther. The streaming side, meanwhile, has fared even worse, with Disney Plus series like Loki, Hawkeye, and Secret Invasion failing to make any impact on the wider cultural conversation. In a recent report on the crisis in Marvel Studios, Variety's Tashiana Siegel cited runaway budgets. Individual episodes of She-Hulk reportedly cost $25 million apiece, and oversaturation of content and the legal issues surrounding Jonathan Majors, the actor who'd been positioned as the franchise's big villain for the next few years. For these reasons and more, it's clear the MCU is in dark and uncharted waters, unquote.
Against such a strikingly clear downward spiral, dude. You'd think these clowns would course correct and try to make something good that both fans and the general public would enjoy.
Oh, you'd think that? And you'd be wrong, Harvey Cthulhu, because Disney and Marvel and Lucasfilm are no longer for-profit companies. They're wholly owned subsidiaries of GLAAD, a propaganda wing of the LGBTQIA MOUSE community, more concerned with making brainwashing PSAs for gays than in making profits for investors. Obviously, the incipient casting of Pedro Pascal means that Disney and Marvel don't give a shit for fans, profits, or the legacy of Stan Lee. Folks, ordinarily, I might not be so pissed off about Pedro Pascal being Reed Richards. Yeah, he's wrong for the role, fatally wrong, but he's a good actor, and I genuinely like his work. He was fantastic in Game of Thrones. He was great in the Netflix series Narcos Mexico. He was great as the Mandalorian. And though I refuse to watch The Last of Us because The Last of Us 2 was so disrespectful to fans of the franchise, I hear he is good in that as well. The guy's a fine actor, there's no doubt, and yet, he is fundamentally wrong for Reed Richards. Reed is a scientist of almost Vulcan disposition. Sure, he gets worked up about his wife Sue Storm having flings with the Submariner. I mean, who wouldn't? He feels great guilt about Ben Grimm turning into the Thing. He gets worked up from time to time, yes, but he's essentially a coldfish egghead scientist more concerned with unstable molecules than unstable relationships. Pedro Pascal, on the other hand, is a fiery macho Latino, a passionate exotic man in the mold of Ricardo Montalban. Pascal would make an excellent Khan Noonien sing. The idea of it sends chills down my spine. That casting is so damn perfect, but he is not fucking Reed Richards. And the idea that the morons running Marvel right now have learned nothing from repeatedly falling on their faces into piles of dog shit left around by Pluto on Iger's daily walks around Disney HQ essentially tells me that all hope is lost for the MCU. If they haven't learned their damned lessons by now, they will never learn them. And what does that mean? We should never go see their worthless woke pandering products again. If they can't even get the casting of Reed Richards right, abandon hope all ye who enter a theater showing a Marvel movie. I mean, what's next? Lizzo is the invisible girl, breaking the long tradition in comics of Sue Storm being the girl we want least to be invisible. Who is gonna be the Human Torch? Dylan Mulvaney? Melissa McCarthy as the Thing? And who is going to be Dr. Doom? Leslie Jones, fresh out of Ghostbusters 2016? You think I'm joking? Nothing is impossible when you consider the lemmings running Marvel over the cliff and into the ground. These schmucks are hell-bent on making political points instead of gross points, and that's the bottom line, and that's why investors should be mad as hell. That's why only Nelson Peltz and Ike Perlmutter can come in and save the day, restoring the natural laws of profit and loss for the capitalist universe and ripping these woke leeches from the anemic body of Disney before they kill the host, which at this point I suspect they have done. Pierce Brosnan was the perfect Reed Richards in Mars Attacks. He looks like Reed, he acted like Reed. This kind of guy is Reed Richards, period. Anyone who isn't blinded by wokeness can see that. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be any sanity left at Marvel or Disney. The Fantastic Four, the comic book that created the Marvel Universe almost single-handedly, has been shafted repeatedly by a string of less than fantastic forays into theaters. The best one was never released, Roger Corman's Fantastic Four, and it survives only in bootleg VHS copies and pirated rips online. So in conclusion, screw you Marvel, screw you Disney. You wonder why you keep bombing at the box office? Here, take a good look. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock, mad as hell, bidding you all, my friends, stay angry.
Ha 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 ha.